Well, hello and welcome. It's Amanda here. Welcome to Arts and Wellness Cafe. We're outside today and we've just had quite a bit of rain. And I've literally, the way I'm dressed now, it's not my usual, but I've just come back from an event. It was a press event for the artists who are exhibiting in the gallery at St. Croix in the US Virgin Islands. Anyway, so we had our Minister of Culture there, Minister John King, and some of the artists were there, the curators of the exhibition, and people who'd written books. There was three different people who had written books. I think one of them was Trevor Hartley, and the museum director, and there was another lady there who was, who had written books on Barbados. And so I thought I would, as I've come back, it's still dry. So, hey, it's a dog. Cool. So I thought I'd come outside and do a video for you, and I've got quite a few things to show you. I've got which I'll go back into the studio for, but the word for this week is Kindred, and I talk about it in a section where I'm going to be doing a journal page. So on the podcast I would have covered that word, and what I decided to do is to use that recording, an edited version of that recording, and do an art journal page. And it's just about the flow in which we, in terms of hearing about a particular subject, and also about creating as well. So both of them, you could be listening and doing some art yourself. So if you can do that and see how it makes you feel, see what it makes you think about the word, which we mostly talk about kindred and we think about family, which is what the definition of the word means. But the way I'm thinking about it is the things that we can relate to in our creative practice, that really mean a lot to us, that really kind of, those particular supplies, when I'm working with a particular supply or working on a particular thing, it really does open up parts of me that only art, only creativity, being creative is that thing that can do that for us. And so I just wanted you to think about and consider what that is for you. So for me, can you hear that? Hear the birds, you can hear the tree frogs, we've got a bit of breeze blowing, it's overcast now because it was raining, but this feeling I get being out in nature is second to none, and it gives me a sense of peace, it's a sense of being right where I need to be, it's a sense of being one with nature, because every single every single tree I planted, bar a couple of ones that have just sprung up and I've allowed to grow, and I didn't plant the frangipani tree, but everything else is something, I grew it from seed, or a cut-in, or I brought the plant and I've watched it grow, and it's just an awesome feeling. It is a really great feeling, and anywhere I go I always have to either buy a plant. I even went to an Airbnb once, and I brought this little rosemary plant in a pot, and so I was having my rosemary tea, and at the end I said to the host, the Airbnb host, you can have it. It was a really lovely plant, and I'd looked after it, and for the 2 weeks it kind of blossomed, and it was just like, okay, I'm passing it on. And it wasn't there wasn't a garden. It was just in it was in a little plant pot, and they had a big empty pot. It just had soil in it on the outside, when you go into the house. So I thought, I might as well just put a plant in it. And so that's what I did. See, where's hair and makeup when you need them? Anyway, so having nature around, having birds around, and in the garden there's 7 different species of birds. I don't know all the names, but it's nice to say, oh, there's a new one. The latest addition was parakeets. There was green parakeets and blue parakeets, and yeah, it's just this noise around me, the tree frogs. You get it especially like this when it's rained, and at night it gets even louder. I think we've got a community of them living under the house. So what does Kindred, what does that mean for you? If you take it outside of, your family, your kin, what creative practice of yours can you think about that you think, yeah, that's something that, I really love doing? You may not do it all the time, but it's something that even maybe you want to reconnect with. So what we're going to do now is listen to a recording, and I'm going to share an art journal page with you. And it's just really a meditative page that I'm doing. I've created a background, and now I'm working on the background. So we're going to go and watch that, and then we're going to go back into the studio and look at some new work and some other things. Okay, so let's go. Word for today is kindred. Think about what it means to you, how it sits with you, what you think about in regards to your creativity or the work that you do, and really just kind of reflect on the word and think about how it makes you feel. So I guess the kind of definition of kindred is, one's family, your relatives, and I mean, how do you feel about them? The way that I was thinking about the word is the things that I guess it's the same in terms of relate to. So the things that you relate to on a particular level that make you feel a particular way, that, there may be certain supplies, there may be certain art techniques that you do that resonates really, deeply with you, that gives you a sense of, a sense of self, a sense of understanding, a sense of peace. And these are things that it may be even that you sometimes do these things. It makes you feel this way, makes you feel close, or like at peace, at one, but it's not something that you do all the time. And maybe it is time for you to think about doing that. It may be that you need to incorporate these things more, because sometimes it's hard to see what direction we can go in if you don't take a step and look at it objectively, or if you've got some people who are close to you that you can ask their advice. So when somebody sees whatever you create, and they might think, oh, these pieces are beautiful, they're just there's something about them that makes me feel comforted, or reminds me of a time when I was a young child. But this might be something you do every now and again, but you're actually working in acrylics, and you're painting, but you don't necessarily get that same feeling from it, and vice versa. It might be that, so think about those things now. Look at what it is you do. What kind of supplies do you use that you feel a connection to, more of a connection to than others? And it's not to say you're just going to dash dash the ones you don't, because they could be useful tools. You know, in the bigger picture, they could all work together and, you know, create something. You create something, you know, out of this world magnificent. And it maybe is time for you to think about that. If you've been working in a particular medium for a long time and you're starting to feel a particular way, you're starting to feel disconnected, maybe it is time to look at those things that make you feel more connected. And when I think of my example, it's with the fabrics. It's, for years I did stuff with, you know, canvases, painting and all of that. And now in the year that we all shared with the global event, I found stitching was the thing that brought me peace. And when I thought about pieces that I'd done prior to that, I realized, wow, I felt this sense of peace whenever I picked up a piece of fabric or wanted to do some stitching on it. And so what it's made me realize is that's something I need to pay more attention to. That's something that I need to bring more into my art practice and do more of, because if I'm feeling a sense of peace, the amount of work that I put into each piece will connect with other people, because I feel that there's an energy that is within all the materials that we use, and we bring a certain energy. And then when you're adding creativity on top of that and you're creating something, then it's just it's not only an amazing feeling, but the person who actually sees what you've created, it connects with them in ways that we can't even begin to understand. It could be the color that you use, it could be the textures, it could be just something about it reminds them of a particular day in their life that they will treasure forevermore. I hope that that's brought you some things to think about, and you can start, you know, maybe reflecting on that word and seeing how you get on yourself, and maybe even, you know, start up a long buried technique or supply that could be sitting on your shelf or in your cupboards that you haven't taken out, and give them a bit of a chance. And or maybe look at the tools that you do use. If you don't feel that you necessarily have to pick up anything new, but maybe look at what you do use anyway and look at them from a different perspective and see if you draw from that new ways of working and new aha moments and, you know, times of great satisfaction as you create a way in your creative space. So back in the studio. So that was a nice art journal page. It's like, where do I look? That was a nice art journal page, and it's very simply done. Just I applied, this is my composition notebook journal, so just applied paint. I'm going through some of my older paints. I'm trying to get through them so that I can get some new in. The theme is, well, not the theme, but it's out with the old, in with the new. So I'm trying to create space so I can bring some more things in. There's no point in bringing in a whole load of new stuff when you've already got stuff that you can use. So in my composition notebook, I've been covering some of the pages in paint, and then I can go back in and these little mosquitoes, so that I can then go back in and work on the page. And I've just done doodling, as you saw. Anyway, so the other two things I wanted to share with you was another piece of work. I'm still working on the smaller scale, and I've been working on some additional small canvases, and so I'll show you the latest, one of the latest that I've done, and then hopefully next week I'll be able to work on some of the altars that I shared, but just trying to get through some stuff today. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to share with you is tomorrow at 12 EDT, 12 noon EDT. It's going to be the Spill Your Art, episode 6, about inspiration and artistically, how do you find your inspiration? What happens when you don't feel inspired? And so there's going to be 3 of us on the panel, as well as host Nathalie of Nathalie Studios, and it's going to be good. We're looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing how each other, approach it, and any tips that we can share. It's going to be great. So definitely tune in, and I will leave the link in the description. So yeah, I'm gonna also show you a mini book review of this book. It's Art, Journals and Creative Healing, and it's another one of those books which have been created. It's created by Sharon Sonniff, but it has a selection of artists, and they all come with their hints and their tips on working in a journal and how you can use journals, tips. So there's lots of different ways in which they work. So think about how you can, apply something that they might have shown you in a different way, or try it the same way that they've done it. And when you get the hang of it, try it, add your own spice to it, as I would say. So we'll quickly look at that book, and then we'll go on to look at the art piece that I've done. Today we're going to be looking at art journals and creative healing, restoring the spirit through self-expression by Sharon Sonniff. Now, I brought this many years ago. It was first published in 2008, and then it was republished again in 2009, and it's by Quarry Books. And this is a really nice book if you are thinking about the way that art and creativity can impact on your health and well-being. So it's split up into 2 sections: health and healing for the emotions, finding peace in the midst of emotional turmoil, and health and healing for the body. Art and creativity has an amazing impact on your health and well-being, and if you are thinking of purchasing this book, then it is a great book to start out with. And it's written by Sharon Sonniff, and what she does is she gathers together a selection of artists who contribute, and they speak about their own story. They each have their own story which they share, and they also share not only a creative tip but an art journal in various forms. So this is looking at your art journal not necessarily as the typical book. It can take forms where you combine mixed media as well within the project, and sharing the things that come up for you. So this one was by Sharon Sonniff, and what she did was she selected 4 bottles, and in it she wrote about that particular emotion that she had felt: rage, depression, unforgiveness and anxiety. And it's a way of, again, using art to express yourself. Too Much on My Plate by Deb Perry, another journal using plates and cards cut out in the shape of a plate. And so it's a great way, as I said, to look at different types of journals, create different types of journals. Airing My Dirty Laundry, a journal that then has all the things that you want to get out but you don't want to keep in, and it doesn't have to be seen by anybody. You don't have to worry about having it as a journal on show. And there's 4 sections written by, it's like a journaling worksheet written by Mindy Kalbach, and she looks at, once you've gone through the first section, whether you've made all of the journals or taken essences of some of the journals, and she asks you a series of questions, and it's a really good way, rather than just like copying the journal that you see. It's a real way of thinking about the emotions that you are trying to get out for yourself. And so she does 4 of these. It's spaced out in the book, so that once you've gone through that particular part, you can then reflect on some of the things that have been written by the other artists, but some of the way that they've expressed that. And that's a really good thing about this book. Okay, so what did you think? You can see it's a nice book, and you wouldn't believe that I've had it for years. I really do look after my books. It's a nice book to work in, and because it's got a range of projects, you don't have to do them all. You can dip in and dip out, and it might be that this particular season something resonates with you, and then and then you leave it, and then you come back. Maybe it's something that you thought, no, I'm not really interested in that, and then you come back and you think, oh, that looks interesting. So it's definitely well worthwhile having books where there are multiple artists who are creating work, or that the artist has shown different styles and techniques that you can use and maybe try. And it's definitely also a good idea to invest in your continual learning. Even for myself, as much as I use a range of supplies and materials, I've still got stuff to learn, and you still get inspired by artists, different artists and that technique, and then you make it your own, you change it up a bit, and you have fun with it. And that's the thing, if you know your tools and you know your supplies, you can have more fun with whatever it is that you're doing. So if you want to see the full video, because I just showed kind of a snippet, I didn't want to make this one too long, but if you want to see the full video, I'm going to be placing it on my YouTube channel. Okay, so let's see the piece of work now. So it's another small frame, and here it is. Here she is. I like her earrings. I don't think I could wear earrings as heavy as that, although they might not be heavy. They could be light. I used to like really heavy, not heavy as such, but they were made from silver. I used to wear a lot of silver jewelry, and I used to like the larger pieces. And I think you find over time, if your earrings are too heavy, then it can split the earring hole, and I've seen people who have had that. Anyway, back to this. So it's a mini frame measuring let's see, it's measuring 2 inches by, I think it's 2 by 4. Yeah, it's 2 inches by 4, and it can be hung up, and I've got one of my little tags at the back, and on the sides there's some beading. Well, you can see that. So and there's lots of texture, so I like putting texture in to my work, and that's what I showed you last week. So they're all for sale. I'm going to be listing them. It's taken a while for me to organize myself, but I will get there, and I do have an Etsy store, but I haven't really I will be updating and putting some of these on, but it's signed by me at the back. It's got my little tag, and it can be hung on the wall. So those are the pieces of work. So think about the word kindred. Think about how that, in terms of all the things that I've shared. So the art journal page, the being out in the garden, I mentioned working with fabric, looking at books about art journaling and healing, and maybe looking at how you can incorporate some of the ideas for yourself. The art journal page in itself how it can be a meditative practice. It can be healing, it can be soothing, it can be, help still the mind. And even down to the art pieces, I think, and I've mentioned it before, that all the art that we create, everything around us is vibrating with certain, levels, frequencies of energy. And if you think about all the molecules and the neurons and the proton, everything that it's made up with, that when we then come and put our hand to something creative, create a piece of art, imagine what the person who purchases it or is gifted it, imagine what they will receive when they, hold it, when they have it in their presence. What, I mean, that's what I feel that resonates from art. And some people can look at a piece of art and burst into tears because it moves them so much, or it makes them feel calm, or it makes them feel a bit on edge. There's pieces that I just think, no, I wouldn't have that in my home, because the energy that I feel that comes from it is not one that I want around me. So there's much that we can get from being artistic and being creative and allowing the different types of creativity to allow us to express ourselves even more. And the way that we connect with our creativity, the way that we connect with our art is really important as well. And giving ourselves time so that we can listen, so that we can really see how we can use the supplies to express the things that we want to express. So thank you for joining me today in the Arts and Wellness Cafe, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Remember, Spill Your Arts tomorrow. We've got the full book review will be out on my YouTube, and even come and check on Patreon. My patrons get additional content, and it's a great way to support the arts. An artist, buy me a cup of coffee. But anyway, connect with me. You'll always find free stuff on my YouTube channel and my blog, Instagram, IGTV, the works. So I really do look forward to connecting with you in wherever in the on the World Wide Web, wherever you feel most comfortable. So take care for now, and I will see you very soon. Oh, I forgot to say, yeah, so the other thing that comes out tomorrow is another art journal, and I'll be showing, let me just give you a sneak peek. I'll be showing you this, so check back tomorrow. It comes out tomorrow morning before it comes out tomorrow morning, so you'll be able to see it, and then you'll be able to come over to join us on the Zoom for the Spill Your Art. So take care for now, and I will see you soon.